You're listening to the 808s and Joysticks podcast, now available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio.
Welcome to episode 27 of 808s and Joysticks, the show that bridges the gap between games, music, season with pop culture. I'm Tairell, and joining me today, as always, is Tom.
So we spoke a little bit about this last week. You weren't happy with the Nintendo Direct because Pokemon wasn't in there, but lo and behold, on Pokemon Day, Pokemon got its own Direct, and we finally actually saw what was going to be happening with Pokemon. So Pokemon Sword and Shield are coming out. Gen 8, the actual Gen 8 this time, not Let's Go. Wild Battles are back, which everyone seems to be happy about. I wasn't really too affected by that during Let's Go. I didn't really see what the need for people moaning about it was. I understood the change in gameplay. But it looks okay. I mean, we both watched the Direct. It's only like 7 minutes long, but we both watched it live. What are your thoughts on it, as someone that's not like a massive Pokemon fan?
Well, like, I couldn't say I'm not a massive Pokemon fan. I do really enjoy the series. I'm just very, very, very skeptical, like, of the series as a whole in it. Like, I have been vocally upset with some of the things that, like, the Pokemon series does in terms of maybe releasing so many of, like, the same game, like, over and over, but just with, like, different kind of, like, naming conventions. Like, that's one thing. Sword and Shield, I ain't happy with that. Like, why are we gonna call it Sword and Shield? It don't really make sense to me, unless they really explain, like, Shield is like defensive and like the Sword game is more of an offensive Pokemon game, which I don't think they're gonna do anyway, because that would just really change Pokemon. Like, you wouldn't want to have a defense and offense game. Like, it's not a strategy game. So yeah. The more I think about it, I like the way it looks. I like the new region. I'm really excited to see what Nintendo do next. Really, do you have any more thoughts on Pokemon as a game, like, or this one in particular?
I'm excited for it. I think it was possibly the next step after Let's Go, like, to bring it to Switch. It's a slightly different camera angle. It looks slightly different. It's a bit more realistic, you could say. There's a little bit more to the environment and stuff, which I think is good, but I still think it's a stepping stone to where they want to go. I believe they might come out with 3 different Pokemon franchises now. I think they might do the main games, Let's Go, and something like Pokemon World, where it's like an open world game.
You see, this is what I was thinking. Like, I still think they've got something else in the tour. It just doesn't make sense, because and this is not to knock, because obviously we know about, like, development wise, but don't you think that the game just didn't really seem to be like that groundbreaking? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, don't you think that, like, it could have been a lot more, like, more than just that? Like, it just seemed like you just went the inevitable art style, the inevitable route. Like, there's so many other fan concepts that came out, like, over the years of, like, what the next Pokemon's going to be like. And I just felt like they were just more compelling. In design, though, obviously, they might not worked in the game, but the look of them, the way they were, like, designed, and the way how the game looked, like, lighting and stuff like that, I guess it looked like more of like a grittier Pokemon, and that's just my personal opinion. I don't think that's probably the right move from Nintendo, because they don't want to lose the kid audience, so they wouldn't go that route. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they'll still want to have a nice family friendly game that is easy on the eye and is colourful and is quite simple to play, but still has the extension of the new generations. I think they just looked at Let's Go and just thought, well, that kind of did work. Let's just do that with the real Pokemon mechanics now, because obviously we know Let's Go wasn't really technically a real, Like, it was a real Pokemon game, but you didn't battle the Pokemon when you found them in the field. Whereas in this one, I'm assuming you battle them again when you find them in the wild. Yeah.
Yeah, we sort of saw that a little bit in the trailer. But I think, so when they're making Let's Go, obviously they would have had to already start making this game that's going to be coming out, Gen 8. So they would have had this idea already there. And I think Let's Go releasing early was sort of a thing to say, like, right, we'll see what the feedback's like on this. Then we'll do this. And they might just keep the same thing. But there's definitely, they're looking into it, I think. But they don't want to go all out and change it up completely, because, like, Pokemon is a game that's well known for its turn-based battle. If you turn that into an open world game, we've seen it with Final Fantasy, where Final Fantasy went from turn-based to action, like combat. Some people didn't like that, some people like that. The thing is, they can't turn off the whole fan base, because a lot of their dedicated fan base isn't kids, it's adults. So I think that's why Let's Go come back to bring the kids in. This is more for the dedicated Pokemon players, and I think what they're going to do is do an open world franchise and again reboot that from Gen 1. I really think that could be a thing.
I think that could be possible. Or either we have a Pokemon game now. Obviously, this is like super wishful thinking, but we have a Pokemon game that essentially is like a live service, and just all the generations just carry on. Like, they just keep adding the generations every year into the game. It's an open world game. It can be Nintendo's first big foray into the online world, their first online service, like major game one in a long time. It could be some real. There could be some real merit in there, actually. Yeah, trying to do an open world online experience, and I feel like Nintendo could get that right in terms of maybe like monetization wise, maybe. But I say this now, Nintendo's just as bad for like making you pay for things. But at least the games are of quality. Like, I can say that in it. Like, do you know what I'm saying? At least the games are of quality. They're full releases. You're not gonna expect anything crazy like to happen to your game, or like any bugs or any server like issues, or which we'll get on more and more as we get on in the show, because we have some thoughts and some views on a certain game and certain games as a whole as they come out and not being whole products, which is just really unfortunate. I just
don't think that I don't think that it'll work. I don't know if it'll work. I don't think they're willing to take that risk.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you look at the next step for Pokemon to take, coming onto a home console service, that's now going to be a handheld console service as well, because there's reports of the Switch Mini, which we'll get onto in just a second. The next logical step for that is you look at all the JRPGs that are already there. A lot of JRPGs are open world with turn-based combat, which fits Pokemon perfectly. You have things like Dragon Quest coming to the Switch now. Final Fantasy's coming to the Switch. Are they doing that to see if there's a market there before going into something like this? Because it definitely seems like they're allowing for a lot more open world stuff onto a handheld console that is also on home. They're testing stuff in Let's Go with controls. Now are they looking to see whether they just need to do a Breath of the Wild type thing with JRPG elements and put it on a console with Pokemon?
Yeah. I agree. They could well be doing that. That's a really solid plan from Nintendo, really. If they are doing this to prime up to like release something that'd be a bit more akin to the Japanese RPGs, because I would say Pokemon is special in the sense of it isn't a Japanese RPG. It has elements of one, but it really tends to be... I don't know if he created his own kind of like genre, because it's a role-playing game, but you fight enemies, you walk around. It essentially is a role-playing game, isn't it? But it's not a Japanese role-playing game, but it's not a Western role-playing game. It's kind of like a in between, like
it's similar. Like there's the only games I would say that I've played that are similar to Pokemon are JRPGs. Like you have things like Persona has elements where you could possibly say, well, Pokemon could do it like that. Dragon Quest has elements where you could say that. Ni no Kuni has certain things where you could say.
I think like that as well. Like I think, even though I don't think like a giant like Nintendo or Pokemon company will ever look towards the smaller developers maybe for like ideas, but I feel like they can look at Undertale like as a game that was based upon another game which is very similar to Pokemon, or in the sense of its angle, Earthbound and Mother, like that kind of like gameplay aspect where you get embroiled with a turn-based battle with an enemy and stuff like that. Like I feel like they could look towards Undertale to do some more interesting things, like in a game, like space that is set like that. But I guess because the graphics are now no longer like 16-bit, they don't have to do that anymore. Like they can do other things.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. I mean, the trouble is you're possibly not controlling the character, but I mean, the Switch has motion controls and has the ability to do stuff like that.
I keep forgetting that they've got like motion controls built in.
But I mean, saying that, we'll move on to Switch Mini. If that's going to be coming out, which Nintendo said they've got nothing to announce about, there's just rumors still. But if that's going to be coming out and that's like a cheap version that's got Joy-Cons stuck to the side of it, akin to sort of like a 2DS when they brought that out, like just a handheld, you can't plug it in and dock it. Is that going to affect how they design the games in the future, or? Like...
Well, is it still going to carry the same hardware? Because if so, it's not really going to affect anything, is it? It's just going to just take away the opportunity to dock the game. If so, this might make games even better, because they might try and focus on handheld portable games rather than full screen experiences. Because I don't know how many people use Switches. Like, okay, for you, example, how many, like, do you use your Switch in docked mode or portable mode more? Like, and have you met any other Switch users, and what do they do with their Switch?
It all depends on what you're playing. Like, it really does. Like, mainly I use it in handheld mode, but if I'm playing Mario Kart multiplayer, I'll do it big. Mainly single player games I'll play in handheld mode because it's easier, but bigger games that are multiplayer, you tend to just go on the screen. Pokemon's quite nice on the screen because you can throw your controller, not like literally at the screen, but like you can pretend. I mean, it's like a novelty thing, but I think it varies on what the game is, what experience you want to get out of the game. I think it's a nice thing to have, but again, like, it's not necessary. You can spend a bit more money and get that, or you could go for like the cheaper option and just have a handheld, which like 2DS and 3DS people had that. You know, they had the one where you could flip it up and protect it and have a whatever on it, and then the 2DS was just like a cheap down block version of that. And it didn't affect people's experience with it, but it's like a cheap way for people to get into the games they want to play.
Yeah, for sure. I think that Nintendo, they have some thinking to do. They definitely probably have the Switch Mini on the way if they have nothing to report on this topic at the moment. That's such a bullshit industry answer. Like, you should just say, like, you know, more to announce or something in it. Like, that's what I would do, but it is what it is.
Well, they always have something in the works for a console.
Well,
always.
They do, don't they? I think they need to. I think their problem is at the moment is they're trying to figure out what to do with the 3DS. I just think they just want to know what the plan is with that, and then once they have that like plan in mind or out the way, they just go full force ahead with the Switch, like doing more. We're doing like different Switch doing different Switch like
variants,
variants, like a premium Switch model, and then you said you got the cheaper one, which would be like the mini. They might even have like a light Switch, might have a Switch 2.0, which I heard is on the rise as well, like a more powerful Switch machine to replace the original Switch. Like I don't know. I really don't know what Nintendo are doing at the moment. They have a lot of freedom to play with at the moment, like in terms of what they want to do with this machine, because it seems like it can transcend quite a few generations now. Like this machine can.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're sort of speaking about I think like how the future's going to look for games, because obviously the Switch changed the market a lot. A game that you've been interested in, Death Stranding, we got some more news about that this week. And Norman Reedus already said that it's epic. And then Jordan Vogt-Roberts, the director of the Metal Gear Solid movie, is sort of baffled at the game as well. So, and then there's some patents this week as well about
I seen those patents as well. I've got a good old guy Young. He released a video and he explained it all, and he was talking about like the social strand system. Do you know more the other trademarks?
I don't know them off the top of my head, no, but I don't know if that's social strand stuff. Do you remember when we heard about the fact that there's like the world itself, the online world, is very different and could be affected by how everyone acts in the world, like socially, and the social people affect the world and whatever. So is that what this social strand is referring to?
This is like a big move though for like Kojima, like, so he's like trademarked like social strand and then like trademarked strand game. It just makes me seem to believe that like that this must be something crazy. This, like, you can't, like, to trademark an actual feature within a game, it must be something that's going to carry on for quite a while. Like, we're going to see this reoccur. This is either going to be implemented in other games, or it's going to be implemented in a long series of games now. Like,
are we saying there could be a Kojima universe? Every game is related during the strand system.
I didn't think of that, but that sounds sick. What? Yo, that actually might be it. What the fuck? Dude, I didn't think about that. Whoa. The Kojima-verse? Wow. Technically, we already have one, because, like, you got Metal Gear and all that, but that's the Konami-verse. And you've got the Kojima-verse now. Whoa, that'd be insane. Imagine if he gets enough money and he buys Silent Hills up from Konami. Wow. That'd be amazing.
Comparable to like Assassin's Creed a little bit, in the fact that like they're all connected through this. I mean, we don't really know too many details about it, but
also just a little like tidbit, hearing that like Death Stranding will like it's getting like a summer release. This is what I'm hearing.
I mean, I should have money in the summer, so that's good.
Well,
I'm down to get the game. I got money, time.
But like,
I got time to waste playing it.
I have no idea, man. I have no idea when this game is going to come out. Some people are saying early 2019. Some people are saying straight after like PlayStation's announcement, like their new show that they're going to do instead of E3.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be interesting this year, like come June, July time. Right, I didn't think that the year was going to be too good for gaming, because there's not. It's one of those years where the console generation's ending. We're seeing a lot of trash recently, and then there's games that we know are coming out and they keep getting delayed. But I think they're on the cusp of something now. Is something's got to come along and change something, and we're meant to be getting a look at the new Star Wars game, The Fallen Order, during Star Wars Celebration. Death Stranding meant to be coming out. we've still got like Ghosts of Tsushima, whatever it was called. Tsushima.
Last of Us 2.
Days
Gone.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's quite a few things still. There's quite a few things. I also I'm just holding out hope that we all don't just got messed over and be like, all these games will be better on the PlayStation 5. Like, no, please don't do that to us. Like, we got to see what PlayStation and Xbox do as well. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, the only one thing, I know we bang on about Death Stranding, but Norman Reed is saying that it's the most positive, scary, and depressing all at the same time. I'm trying to feel that in a game still. That sounds hard. Instead of feeling like underwhelmed and just fucking disappointed with the game that you've got, like, this man is actually trying to make real good games. Like, this is what it's been missing, like an actual like masterpiece.
See, this piques my interest more than Metal Gear. I like Metal Gear, but I've never been like a massive fan like you.
Yeah.
But this, just the whole concept and the trailers and stuff, it just piques my interest because there's a lot of stuff going on. We don't know a lot of details. It's interesting, and I think if you're going into a game, it's what you want. You want to be interested. You want to keep finding out new things. You want to know, what's this story? Am I interested in following this story? Where does it lead after this? Like, there's a lot of stuff that's going on.
Yeah, I agree still.
But it's slightly different. But we'll speak about that in detail when we get more details.
Yeah.
But moving on to like quality of games. We're talking about this is possibly going to be a really good game coming out. A game that just come out by EA, BioWare, were working on it. Still are working on it because release wasn't very good. But you picked this. So there's obviously the inevitable price drop. I got the chance to play it. Sort of predicted that the content wasn't really enough. Then the whole player base that played it sort of realised the content isn't enough. And they've been smashing out sponsors as well. The amount of times I've seen Anthem sponsoring YouTube videos or sponsoring stuff.
I've been seeing I was just looking at an article about the Death Stranding thing. The entire page was logged with Anthem. All in the banner and everything. I was just like, your game's really trash though. Like, the only reason why is because EA's literally just throwing money at it, like, to make it work.
The problem is it had potential. They just I do feel sorry for BioWare as well, because it's not necessarily there.
Nah, it's not. I feel like they were obviously I feel like they really didn't even want to make this game. Like, they were probably just like, I don't really want to make this game. And then also another thing to do with like BioWare and when they were actually developing Anthem. Come on, I seen something the other day talking about how the E3 reveal trailer and the retail version of the game, they've taken out a lot of, like, not significant things, but just minor details that they've just taken out of the game, and it just makes it look less impressive. Like, so...
Well, there was a point in the game when I was playing it on the demo.
Yeah.
Me and my friend are like, obviously you're flying. So you're flying and you see, like, this vast thing in the distance, fly towards it. It's just a skybox. And you're like... It's so underwhelming when you get there and realize you can't actually explore that because it's just a skybox. Whereas in the E3 demo, they didn't do that. You could just
fly to it, couldn't you?
Or they didn't go far enough up to it that you could see that it was a
the
skybox.
E3 demo doesn't exist because somebody tried to replicate it, and it just doesn't exist. Like, the mission, the way how you stumble upon the mission, everything doesn't exist. Now, okay, I know games are subject to change, yeah, but don't tell me that this is the beginning of the game, or like this is one of the beginning sections of the game, and then remove it totally, and then make some stock intro in how to enter the game and the missions. Like, it's just shit. Like, why would you take it out? Like, why would you then take the game, take those features out of the game to make it less great. Like, it's just shit. Like, this is why everyone's complaining about the game. Like, you should have just worked on it a lot longer. But, you know, it's EA, in it. EA wasn't going to let them work on the game for, like, a sufficient amount of time.
Well, we saw that. It's Star Wars game got cancelled due to that reason. Respawn, who work on Apex, that is under EA, they said they didn't agree with the way that microtransactions were put into their own game. It's just not. It's not a good thing for a publisher or an overlying company to demand so much, and then just the backlash is still on the overarching company. But I mean, there's people's jobs on the line at Respawn and stuff, and well, possibly not Respawn, but like BioWare now again. And
it's definitely there's definitely going to be jobs on the line, man. It's just sad as fuck as well, because this is not their fault.
Such a good studio as well. I mean, some of the games they've made, like they made some of the best games of the last generation, you could say, or the last two generations.
BioWare was like, at one point, BioWare was an industry leader. Like, I'm talking in terms of like stories, the worlds, the graphics, like the way how they like did things was crazy. Like, and then as soon as Mass Effect came on and they did the first 3 Mass Effects, like after that they just didn't know what to do. I don't think, like, I feel like they just really. Also, it might have been the fact that EA also pushed the Frostbite engine on everyone. And I think that BioWare didn't really know how to use the Frostbite engine.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying there, but I think like there's enough time had with it to do something relevant. I think it's just that they were given a lot of creative freedom before, and they were innovating. And then they sort of got given projects, which is like, this is where I think EA has a real problem, and the industry in general now has a real problem with publishers expecting stupidly high quality work and people to work stupid hours overtime to get like this great game in return that costs people £60, riddled with microtransactions, and people are just going to be like, oh yeah, that's fine, I'll play that. But if the consumer base doesn't want it, and the publisher's forcing it to get more money, then the person in the middle, you know, they're the one that ends up losing their jobs and having to find a new job, the people that actually make the game. And then the consumers don't get what they want, and they don't get the money for it. But EA, I mean, all the execs at the top that are making the decisions, same at Activision, they don't lose their jobs. They just fire everyone below them, and it just keeps happening like that.
I know. And there's one thing as well, like, about these execs and about money making, and people who actually, I know there's actually people who defend these really big execs on the decisions that they make. Don't know how you can ever defend these people, because they're millionaires and they would never ever give you any of their money. Like, for you to defend people who literally take people's jobs away every day, and not even because the business is failing, just because they merely fail to hit a target. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they've made billions that year, they just failed to hit like maybe 1 percentile away from the target, so the investors are upset, so they need to fire some people to make up that extra 200 mil. Like, we're not even 200 mil. Like, how much money are you going to save from like firing like a whole game development team, really? Not enough to make a whole game.
I don't know. It all depends. But I mean, like, it comes down to the fact that this is the same has happened with films, you could say. The same has happened with music. These are creative industries, and when people invest into it and expect a return, just like a business, without any of the creative input and the risk taken to do that, you know, You're proud of your work if it's creative, and if it doesn't come off, then that's fine. But you just keep going. The thing is, we don't have the chance to do that now. We've seen it in music, labels. They had their time where they were trying to gain control of everything, and there was backlash against that.
Well, as we'll see as well, we've got a topic coming up. They kind of are, kind of are still like in control of everything, which is really, really messed up. But I understand. I really agree with the parallels between like the music industry, games industry, all those kind of like little industries, because people get blackballed the same way as well. And when I say blackballed, I just meaning like, I'm just for like the viewers. Term blackballing is just when somebody is in a certain industry and they've done something to upset a very high up position person, such as an exec or an exec's wife or an exec's husband or whatever it may be. You've done something to upset the natural order of the hierarchy, as in the riches at the top, and you do what they say, and they can essentially shelve you. Shelving you meaning in your album might never ever come out. You might never ever get to release on your record label again. Or in the games industry, we're just gonna shut your studio down. Like, you haven't done what we needed from you. We're shutting you down. You're gonna have to go and work on other things. Konami, they tried to blackball Kojima in a much more heinous way, where they tried to stop his health insurance from getting cleared, which was really bad. I felt like Konami should have been held responsible over some kind of like criminal damages there, because that's really important, like health insurance for like a company. Tried to stop employees from actually going to Kojima projects from Konami. Trying to like, I think he even tried to like stop Kojima from having towards the tail end of Metal Gear Solid 5, Kojima was like barred from like going to any like exec meetings and things like that. So that's just another way how to like stop a creative person from having any input on their project. I just think it's really, really fucked up, and it happens a lot. This is why we need unions, and even that's hard to get a union going. This doesn't even work. Like, still gonna have to protest.
The whole thing it's always going to be hard because it's creative industry, but
yeah.
I mean, we're seeing is the fact that people are being given a set time, a set target. This is what we want. This is what the outcome is meant to be. And we're sort of seeing the best games that come out, or the games that have the best reception, in my opinion, are the ones where the creativeness is there. Like, they're innovating, it's different, it's creative, it's definitely come from someone's mind. Like, you spoke about Undertale earlier. That game's completely different to whatever we've seen before, but it's not a drastic change gameplay wise for a lot of things. It's just a nice 2D RPG. There's not a lot different to other things we've seen before. But I mean, what we've seen this week is Overkill's Walking Dead, which was meant to be really good, looked really good at E3, pulled from Steam because it didn't meet the publisher's standards, and now all the console versions have been cancelled. So I don't know what that means for the development team behind that now, because one game's flopped, it's not made the target, it's not made the money. Is that because they're working to a certain standard though? That's always how publishing's worked. But it's not really been good for The Walking Dead the last year, has it? No,
like, in terms of like game development, they've had such a rough time. Like, this will probably really damage their brand as well. Like, because people are just not going to want to play Walking Dead games now, because it's going to think, it's really going to damage them able to sell the game, which is really unfair. But I don't know enough about it. Like, I'm trying to look up about it. There doesn't seem to be much information.
It's just been cancelled. That's it. Like, they're not supporting it anymore on PC, and the console versions have been trashed. So it's not coming. I don't know. I mean, the game wasn't fantastic, but again, I think it's this thing where you have a deadline to meet, and yeah, it got delayed, but
by the way, we should definitely play like Left 4 Dead or something like soon. Just little heads up.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if people are just sort of like expecting too much now. Because we've seen quality games, are people just expecting everyone to pump that out? Because, you know, that takes time. It takes a long time to make a GTA game or a Red Dead game. Like, if you're expecting that sort of output, you should expect the same amount of money, time, effort, and skill to go into it.
Do you know what I think about, like, when we talk about Rockstar and you talk about, like, Red Dead and stuff? Those, like Rockstar is, and those companies there are, like, well-oiled machines, man. Like, they're just built to, like, make good, really big games and, like, a lot of money, even though, like, the amount of games that Rockstar produce has slowed down significantly in the last 10 years, rather than compare it to the PS2 era, which we had, like, multiple GTAs, Bully, Red Dead Revolver, like, we had everything, like, but I know it takes longer now because of the way how development is gone. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say it's surely like a good thing that they've slowed down, because they care about what they're making. They plan what they're making. If they need to delay it, they'll delay it. You know, they're working on Red Dead for maybe 6-7 years, like Red Dead 2. They don't care, because they've got the resources there and they've got the plans, and they know that if they release a good game at the end of that period, then it's going to be successful.
Yeah, I'm
GTA
totally
Online
fine.
might have like helped them to fund that.
Yeah, for sure.
You're telling me EA haven't got enough money to be able to fund a game in long development?
Well, even with that, like, the whole thing as well, that's another, like, real big myth about, like, microtransaction, like, funds, additional game development.
They do make a lot of money on that.
Yeah, they do make a lot of money, but from your original game sales alone already, you've already probably recouped enough to make another game. The microtransactions, fair enough, they do warrant extra money, but the amount of money that these companies already make, that they would never ever really, they could not do microtransactions to still be fine. There's companies that are fine without it. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, that don't need microtransactions. Like, the GTAs and the Red Deads, none of them have microtransactions in the base game, right? Because single player experience. In the online now, that's a different story. As you can see, look at Red Dead Online. It's dead. It's dead. It is literally Red Dead. Like, this online service is dead. Like, nobody plays it. It's too hard. It's too grindy. And it's too many microtransactions. People are not going to do it. They're not going to pay for it. They're not going to pay for GTA. They're going to pay for GTA and also pay for Red Dead Online. And then, like, also pay for microtransactions for the two games. Now, this is where companies start getting in trouble. So now, I think if Rockstar closed GTA Online down, I think Red Dead Online would have done a lot better.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just think that it's like it's a different game, and I think opinions on microtransactions have changed going into a new service since then.
Yeah.
GTA Online come at a very weird time, that it just capitalized on a market that was doing very well for stuff like that, and I think people just got used to it. If they'd put 5 years into it now, you know, they're not going to back out now. Whereas if people want to start something new, they're less likely to try and pump funds into a new service now. But I don't know, there's, you know, we heard that Dying Light developers are cutting down their jobs this week. But it's not affecting Dying Light 2, but it's a small thing to do with publishing third-party games in Poland. But, I mean, it's still jobs being lost from the industry.
Yeah,
there's still jobs being made, but it's still big companies that are losing a grasp as such, or, you know, one bad game or one attempt to try and make a battle royale with microtransactions that fails results in you having to cut an area of your business down.
significantly as well. Not even just like, we're just, like, obviously, because that's like that handles publishing and stuff like that in Poland, and it is a Polish company. So you just got to think, well, somebody else is going to have to do that job now. Like, somebody's going to have 2 workloads. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this causes strain on a business.
Yeah, but what happened to planning? It seems like a lot of the bigger companies now are just, something will come along, it makes a lot of money, and it's just like, okay, we'll do that. Like, we can do that easy. Like, all right, how long do you reckon it'll take to do that? Someone says like maybe a year, and they're like, okay, a year. Well, you've got it down a year today. That's definitely going to be out. And if it's got a lot of bugs in it and it's shit, we're still going to put it out because we want to make money.
Oh no, you already know what it is, man. Tom. We're going to put it out, and we're going to call it early access.
Yeah, like, we can patch it.
We're gonna call it earlier. Like, remember that game? What was that one that got like announced in the Game Awards? What's it called? Atlas. The one that was made by the Ark developers. Sorry, the Ark developers.
Yeah, Atlas. What you mean?
And it was shit.
you mean Ark DLC that never actually came to life?
Yeah, it was an actual Ark DLC that never came out, which came out as a full game. Has it been taken down from Steam again? Or is it people just don't play it?
I think people just don't play it.
What a shit game. That's another one as well, you know. The way they were saying it was like, oh yeah, it's out tonight. Like, it's releasing, and it got pushed back like a whole week. And the game was still really bad. It was so bad.
It's just a sad time, but also an exciting time. So we have to see how it pans out. I think this year is very important for the games industry as a whole, both in good ways and bad ways. But we'll end it on that, and we'll speak about the film industry and how Ben Affleck's Batman, which was meant to be great according to him. And then he just come out and said he was never happy with it. So,
well, Ben's like, I don't know why we're calling him Ben like we know him. Ben's Batman, wasn't even like, it wasn't bad. I think the script was garbage. Like, from watching Batman vs Superman, the script was definitely garbage. Like, that he got given. Like, he had nothing to work with, because we know Ben Affleck's a pretty good actor, pretty good director as well.
Do you think Ben Affleck makes a good Batman though? He's pretty old and not in shape that much anymore.
But I think that's the kind of like, trust me.
Is that the Batman he was going
that's
for?
the type of Batman that the DC like film industry was like going for, like the more older, rugged Batman who's been through a lot. That's why his Batman character kills people, because he's based upon a Batman that kills. So he's more like an older, rugged. He's based off a Batman. If Bruce Wayne and his mom died, if Bruce Wayne died instead of Bruce Wayne's dad dying, his mom turns into the Joker and his dad turns into Batman. If you know what I mean, like, she goes insane and turns to the Joker, and then he turns into Batman and kills people. Like, but he's a killing Batman. So I think that's the kind of Batman that they took inspiration from, because obviously it's just a mix mash of all the comics like in one. It's not a certain storyline that they're following in Batman vs Superman, which is why it's so shit. So I don't know. Ben, you shouldn't have ever took the role. Like, in the first place, this whole film's been a shit show. You've been in like what, 2 films, and it's been terrible. Maybe 3 films, actually. He was in Wonder Woman as well for a bit, I think.
I just don't really understand where it come from, what it was meant to be. But I mean, it leads on to them speaking about how they're going to have more individual character DC movies now, which is a bit. That's more interesting, I think.
But where they're going to now just find a new Batman, like, to replace, like, it's so, like, the role of Batman used to be such a, like, yo, who's playing Batman for this, like, run of films? Like, who's gonna play Batman? Like, it was always, like, a big thing. It was like, who's gonna play Bond, like, next? Like, who's gonna take up the Batman persona, or who's gonna take up the Superman persona? No one's topped it since Christian Bale. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, who is going to take up Batman? That's a good question.
Don't say like
Who would you pick?
I don't know who to pick as Batman, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I would like to go something in like a bit of a different direction, man. Like a younger Batman or something. Like
a Jonah Hill Batman.
Nah, I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say it was just like a comedy Batman. I don't want like a Jonah Hill Batman. I would want more of like a younger Batman that is kind of just like starting out, but like he's a bit more like an alternative Batman. Maybe he isn't such a rich kid. Like, he doesn't really care for all of that shit. I don't know, because there's been different Batmans over time. Do you know what I'm saying? There's been Batmans where I don't know if there's ever been a Batman where he wasn't a billionaire. That's the thing.
I think it's because that's the story everyone knows.
Yeah, he's super intelligent. He's super rich, and then he's also super good at fighting. Like that's like his three things.
Well, he's a ladies' man, so
yeah, and that too. He's essentially Iron Man. He's essentially Iron Man, but Iron Man's a lot more smarter than Batman. And Iron Man can not really fight. He just has a suit. So
I don't know who would be a good person to play Batman.
A good Batman. I'm trying to look down on all of my guys. Maybe like my man, now that he's stopped doing Captain America.
Nah.
You don't think so?
Still don't think he'd make a good Batman. He's not. I like Bale because he was pretty rugged. Like, you could tell that he'd been through some shit. Ben Affleck just looks like he doesn't look like he's been through a lot of shit, to be honest.
They're trying to say that like who the next person I was supposed to have was Josh Brolin, was supposed to play Batman originally, but had disagreements with Zack Snyder on how the character was portrayed, so he backed out of the project. And then Affleck
what just come out of nowhere?
He was running for Affleck's role in 2016, so I'm guessing like, was that before Batman vs Superman or just in the same time?
I think that was just before, maybe at the same time.
But yeah, he was in the running anyway, and he had disagreements, which just goes to show that Zack Snyder, his script must have been ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? If like other people were complaining about it, he then went on to become Thanos in one of the biggest superhero movies of the decade. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just kind of funny. Ryan Gosling can never be Batman. Don't play yourself. Like, I don't know why anyone would ever say Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
None of these people. John Hamm's not playing Batman. These guys are too old.
Liam Neeson would have made a good Batman if he was younger.
Yeah, back in the day. But it's fuck Liam Neeson now anyway, man. All he does is play taken roles anyway. 12 actors who could replace Ben Affleck as Batman.
It is a hard question.
11 actors who could play Batman now that Ben Affleck's out.
Would you go for someone?
Yo, they're really pushing for Jake Gyllenhaal, you know.
Jake Gyllenhaal might make a good Batman. You know what? That's not a bad shout, you know. Have you seen Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler and stuff?
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal is a good actor
because he plays, and he was just in that new film on Netflix. What was it called? Something to do with art. Something Saw.
Oh, Velvet Buzzsaw. It's a film. I ain't watched it. I am planning to watch it though.
It looks really good. I've not watched it, but it looks really good. And that could tie into how he interacts with the Joker as well, because it's like, I mean, I think that's what I'm going for. I'm going for Jake Gyllenhaal as my Batman, if that's the case. Because I honestly can't think of anyone else that would play Batman for me. This
article on Insider, which is absolute garbage, and we're going to get out of this topic in a minute. Timothy, Chalamet.
Yeah,
they put him in the lineup, but let me read why though. Because he's been spotted with Christian Bale.
No,
and he's been in a film with Christian Bale as well. They said that could he possibly be getting advice from the former Dark Knight? I was like, no, he's just doing a film.
Yeah, there's no one. I mean, maybe Matthew McConaughey.
Nah, he got to play Batman. He's too slender. He's too slender looking, man.
Alright.
Nah, you gotta do that, man. I'm trying to think. Oscar Isaac. Nah.
Maybe. I think Jake Gyllenhaal.
Do you know why though? I want them all to just. I want all of these actors to go on and do other things. Just don't become Batman, because it just really wears you down. Like, I just feel like people just, the Batman role is a serious role. Like, you don't do it unless you ain't got shit else to do. Like, that's what Christian Bale was doing. Like, I felt like Christian Bale put his all into Batman.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, it all depends on what you want Batman to look like, doesn't it?
Jaden Smith for Batman.
Yeah, Jaden Smith for Batman.
he was actually the last person on the list. That could be a really weird call.
Change it up.
Yeah, that could be a really weird call. Jaden Smith, like, his Batman. Like, that could be like an alternative, like, Batman. Wow. Yeah, Netflix gals. We already spoke about DC focusing on more individual characters.
We sort of went off the rails there.
Yeah, we did. We always do when it comes to DC, and we always keep saying how we're going to talk about DC more in depth, because we feel like we have some real thoughts and opinions on how to improve the DC universe, and we just want to put our ideas out there, but we don't necessarily think now is the time to be really like discussing them, should I say? Yeah,
we have plans. We just need time. We got a few months till we finish uni, and then we're full force ahead for improving what we're doing here. But we'll go back onto topics. Something we spoke about before. Something, again, we want to speak about in detail. How Netflix have now pulled more Marvel shows, and they want to possibly reboot them on Hulu. You know, you sent this to me literally straight after we recorded the last show, and we're like, what did we say? Like, it was bound to happen.
Well, we've been saying this, yeah, for so many, like, I wouldn't say like a lot of episodes we've been saying this now since the beginning. As soon as this like Disney deal came through and we heard about it, it was like, yep. Mm-hmm. I was like, they're all getting cancelled. I guarantee they're all getting cancelled, every single one. And then I started thinking maybe they're not going to get cancelled, because they only cancelled a few, and then they allowed a couple seasons to go ahead of some other ones, and then they cancelled them. So I was thinking, you probably already had half the season filmed for, fuck it, let's finish it, and let's just release it, and then let's cancel the series. Probably going to get rebooted on Disney Plus. Those Netflix series is, to my knowledge, is Netflix still holds the rights to those series, so they will remain on Netflix for the remainder of Netflix's life cycle or whatever. So, and unless Disney decide to buy it from Netflix.
I don't know if that's the case.
You don't think that's the case?
Yeah. I think they helped to make it, didn't they? 'Cause it's with Marvel TV, which is different to
that's
Marvel,
a different
films.
Yeah, that's a different entity, but still, I guess it still all falls under the Disney umbrella though, doesn't it?
But it's like the Star Wars films, so, and all the Disney films that Netflix had, you know, they held the license on that until a certain point. It's like Disney can't put Star Wars films on, take them off the TV, because they've signed deals with TV companies until like 15 years in the future. But that doesn't mean Disney are willing to buy them out. Like, they have a lot of money, and if they want to buy something and do what they want to do, they'll just be like, I'll give you like 100 million, and then we can talk. And someone will just be like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll take a nice Christmas bonus in like January.
Yeah, is this? We already knew this is all gonna happen. We already knew this is gonna go down. I want to know, what do you think they're gonna do with Hulu? Like, do you think we're gonna get Hulu, or we're gonna get that incorporated into Disney Plus?
I don't know. It depends what they want to do. So obviously they own the rights to that now. But is Disney Plus going to be incorporated into Hulu in America, and then Disney Plus going to be its own service with Hulu programs in other areas? Because, you know, it could be a thing. Because Hulu offers like live TV in America for cable and stuff, whereas we obviously can't get that in the UK or any of Europe. Does that mean Disney Plus is its own entity in Europe, and then Disney Plus is like an additional thing to Hulu in America? Or maybe you just have to buy like 2 packages. I don't know. I mean, if it's cheaper, if it's like what would it be, like $4.99 or something? Touted. If it's $4.99 and then you pay like $5.99 for Hulu, and you get a lot of shows. I mean, it's a little bit more expensive, but Netflix are raising their prices. So if you get both kids and adults, or you can pick, then, you know. And you were speaking before this, before the show about this as well, Disney Life. Where does that fill into this gap? Like,
Disney Life. I have no idea where Disney Life really fits into any of this, because there obviously would just be like fizzled out, consolidated. I don't think it would really be an entity anymore. I don't know what, they've never said anything about Disney Life, you know? Like, I didn't know it really existed like that. I thought just Disney Plus was their streaming service, but to see that they already had a streaming service that they only brought out like a few years ago, like I think 2 years ago, it must have just not done as well as they wanted it to do. I don't know the metrics on Disney Life and how well it does, like in what territories or...
Yeah, I don't think it did, but I also think that that's because Disney movies were accessible on other streaming services, whereas now it's been pulled back, ready for the impending release of Disney Plus. So, did they try it, just releasing their own stuff, and realise, okay, no one's actually going to buy Disney Life because it's all on Netflix?
Yeah.
So, we're just going to have to fuck Netflix over, take everything off them, and make our own thing. It seems like something that would be a thing. Like, who's the person that's rivaling Disney in the entertainment industry? Biggest person, probably Netflix. So who are you not going to give your content to and try and fuck over? Probably Netflix.
Yeah.
It seemed like a logical decision from them. You know, it's not good for consumers having lots of platforms, but especially with the merging with, well, taking over Fox and all the assets underneath there, which includes Hulu, it's like a no-brainer to really... Seems like they had it planned. Seems like they've been planning it for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Disney are going to soft release a streaming service. I think if they're going to do it, like we've already seen with the new Star Wars series that are coming, new High School Musical series is coming.
Sure, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they're like they're going for all areas. I think they're just sort of putting money into it and seeing what they can do original programming. So I think this is going to be, I mean, not to include as well, you've got all of Hulu's original shows in there as well. So, and Hulu have got some good shows original.
Yeah. So
they've got something coming, and I think you'll know about it when it gets released.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing though. Like, Disney will just wait, and then they'll make some type of. Hopefully, they'll have some type of like announcement where they detailed all the features, what shows are coming, when it's going to come, all the price tiers. That should all come this year, hopefully. So we can get more of a metric on like whether or not it's going to be worth it, whether it's either going to be like a major player in the game. This could be a really, really, really good like decision for Disney, or it could be really, really bad in the long run. It just really depends.
Mm-hmm. I think they'll include Disney Life as like a kids service in it or something.
That would be the kid side.
Yeah, but I think they'll still leave it so you can buy Disney Life by yourself if you want, like just have it on its own.
Yeah.
But it's a no-brainer to just include it as its own kids section in Disney Plus, because the content's there. You just have to include it somehow. So, moving on from that, because we've still got a little bit to get through in the film section of films and TV. Now, I'm interested in this. Jordan Peele's new Twilight Zone. Apparently Seth Rogen's going to be starring in it, and there's 2 episodes coming out on April 1st on CBS. I'm really, really excited for a new Twilight Zone, especially with Jordan Peele.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really good. Seth Rogen's episodes will be written by Rick and Morty and community writing Alex Rubens as well, who's also a producer on the series. So I'm ready. I am ready. And I know the Twilight Zone is just going to be super weird. And like I can't. I feel it. It was Black Mirror before Black Mirror was a thing. Like the old Twilight Zone was great, and it's sort of been slept on for too long, you could say. Like there was a market crying out for it, and no one jumped on it until now. So, I mean, like the first episode was 1959. So that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched the originals.
I haven't watched like the full original Twilight Zones, but I just know about it. Really, really cool. Like I just remember it. I remember the way it was. There was like that, and then Twin Peaks. Like those are like real kind of like weird, obscure, like kind of mysterious, kind of like horror shows, but not horror shows though. Like if you know what I mean.
They're just like psychological shows. Like it's nice to see it coming back, because I really like the stuff like that, genres like that, you know. Twin Peaks is weird. I still need to finish it, but it's weird, but it's just interesting. Like I wouldn't necessarily go out and say it's the best thing I've ever watched, because like you comparing it to a lot of things. That's
really hard to like compare to like most things, to say that like this is the best thing you ever watched. But I can see how you could say something like that though, like so easily, just because
it's one of the most interesting things I've ever watched.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm excited. I mean, the first time I was watching Super Bowl, I think it's Super Bowl 53 this year, and the Twilight Zone trailer come on, so like it cut back, and you're like, it just looked like you were going back to the Super Bowl, and then like the screen started going all jagged, and then the lights turned off, and Jordan Peele like walked out into the middle, and then you started hearing the theme tune, like as soon as you hear that theme tune, you know, like it's iconic, and it was only around for a short amount of time long ago, but that theme tune's still iconic. And I don't know, it's just one of those things. It's gonna be good. Well, you can just tell, I think.
But you got like Jordan Peele. Oh, you got like Us, the film. Oh man, there's so many things. It's gonna be so sick.
Yeah, there's a lot of good actors in it as well. Like a lot of good actors are going to be appearing and just in different episodes. Like,
yeah, they said it's a star-studded like cast. I think it's a little bit weird. It's on CBS All Access, but like I don't know. I see CBS is trying to get their little streaming service off as well.
Everyone is trying it, and it's going to work. It's going to be different, but it is going to work. Well, I mean, we're speaking about Who Wants to Play Batman earlier.
Yeah.
Probably should have transitioned into this, because we've got to speak about this as well. And you're the one that needs to answer this question. Oscar Isaac wants to play Snake in the Metal Gear Solid movie. What do you think?
Like, I don't know yet, because Snake isn't just a face. He's a voice. He's so many things. His mannerisms, the way how he's built, like it might be a bit hard to nail Snake right on the head. You know what I'm saying? Like yo, like,
is Oscar Isaac a snake though? Like, not literally, but like, does he fit the role?
I don't know. I just don't know. Like, I don't know who could really fit Snake. Like, there's like, I really want it to be like, there's only one real Snake, and that's friggin'. One sec. I'm just making sure I get my facts right first before I do anything. Yeah. And that's obviously Kurt Russell. I knew it was Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's the only Snake, because his name is Snake Plissken. Like, he was named, like, that is where they got the character name from. Snake Plissken from Escape from New York. Now, that's what Snake looks like in real life. Like, this is what he was built upon. So really, we're all going to do is try and get someone to look like Kurt Russell. And that can act good. I don't think Oscar Isaac really looks like Kurt Russell. But I did see Boss Logic's, like, little artwork that they did.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I like... I'm happy to see that there's so much buzz around the film, but at the same time, we just need to make the right mistakes. We need to make the right... we need to make the right moves so we don't have any mistakes, like, with the film, and, like... And just mess up, like, how all the other video game films mess up, and make these, like, mistakes, and just the film just ends up being just kind of just like 5% of what the game's like. Just like when people adapt books, it's always usually not as good, but at least books can be adapted a lot more better now, should I say. Like, people have more of an understanding of doing book adaptations because they've been doing it for years, but game adaptations is a lot more difficult.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Ben Affleck's interested. You down for Ben Affleck to play Snake?
Ben Affleck. I'm not interested in it. Yo, he don't even want to pay Batman, so why would I trust him into playing, like... You don't get out of that. Fuck you.
I don't know. I don't feel like... Oscar Isaac's a good actor. He's a really good actor. I just don't know if he'd do Snake well. Like, he's a little bit... happy in some films. I don't know how to sort of say it, but like he just comes across as quite a likable character. Whereas, I don't know, with Snake, like, he's a bit grittier. I don't know if Oscar Isaac is gritty enough to really play that role. But, well, I mean, I know, like you said, Boss Logic's mock-up does look good.
It looks really good. It looks really impressive. I am quite impressed with what Boss Logic did in terms of, like, making Oscar Isaac. Like, it makes me want to, like... It makes me want to warm up to the idea of being Snake, but he's just another character, like... Snake, who can really play Snake and do him justice? Like, I don't really know. Like... Because that's a character as well that you've got to think to yourself, like... Right, if I don't do him justice yet, I'm gonna have, like, not even just 10 years. I'm gonna have, like, for the rest of my acting career, I'm gonna have Metal Gear fans telling me how terrible I am.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really want that?
Kurt Russell's only 67, so he got killed in the Avengers.
Kurt can do it.
Got killed in the Avengers, so he's got no other plans at the moment. Definitely has a gap in his locker.
Yeah, he does have a gap in his locker still. I'm like, Kurt, yeah, I'm just watching this. I'm just watching the Hellboy trailer as well. That's like our next thing we're going to talk about. It's Hellboy and like how that. Also, you seen the Detective Pikachu trailer, the new one?
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yo, do you see Mewtwo?
No.
What trailer you ain't watched then? Oh, did I just spoil it for you?
Oh no, I did. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a Mewtwo.
I know
In
what
it.
you're on about. I thought you were on about you're not seeing the CGI trailer for Pokemon at the moment. Because they're redoing the old Pokemon movie, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I know they're redoing all of them.
I
think like is 2 on Netflix at the moment. 2 like remastered versions.
There's the first one. I don't know if the second one's on there. But there's I Choose You, which is like the.
That's like
so it goes through the series, the first series, but in a film version.
Oh, is it like what do you call those?
Second one
is it like
goes through
like an OVA? That's what they call them.
Yeah, so it's like. Yeah. So basically, that film is of season 1 of Pokemon Indigo League, and then the second film is Johto League, I think. You know, with Luigi and Ho-Oh, you know, Pokemon Gold and Silver, that series. And then the film about Mewtwo is the third film they're working on now, but it's all in CGI. So it looks like the new Pokemon games, but animated. It's like a Pixar film, but with Pokemon. It's weird. I'm not too sure. The models for Ash and Brock and Misty, I'm on the fence about. But all the Pokemon look nice in that style. So, I don't know. Have to wait and see.
Yeah, we do still, because sometimes also see, like, I don't know whether to just, like, you just leave it alone. Like, the Hellboy, don't get me wrong, this reboot looks really, really good. It looks really different, but the beginning looks pretty the same, like how like you find Hellboy. I mean, like, all the rest of the trailer looks crazy, and I'm glad they've made it into, like, I'm assuming this must like
it's like a. So I watched it. It's like a fantasy, but it looks like a more light. Well, it's always been light-hearted viewing, but it's like a play on trying to keep up with the special effects of the TV series and films that we've got now, but just being like its own thing. It's got a light-hearted touch on it. I think, what's his name? David
Harbour.
Yeah, David Harbour plays, from the trailer anyway, I think he does the character justice. He fits the role well.
Yeah, for sure. I think he looks, because I thought Ron Perlman's Hellboy was really good, but he looks quite close to Ron Perlman, like just in his different own distinct way though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do feel that it's quite funny as well that some of the enemies or antagonists of the film sort of look like Demogorgons as well, which I felt may have been a slight design choice for the designers on the project.
Yeah, come to find out, they've probably worked on Stranger Things or something.
Could be.
Yeah,
we're seeing a lot of Demogorgon type stuff now, though, aren't we?
Well, weren't it, because like that kind of like 80s like type horror is like become more like popular again now, I'm guessing it, since like not everyone like is really obsessed with like Stranger Things and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna go down the new releases. We're gonna be in music now. It's in the last little music section. New releases: Solange, When I Get Home, 2 Chainz, Rap Will Go to the League, The Baby, Baby Or Baby, Omar Apollo, Ashamed, Tierra Whack, Clones, and Only Child. I know that Tierra Whack's like releasing like a song a week or something, I think. Yeah, it's really, really cool. Gelfenstein and Pharrell, Blast Off, Sonder, What You Heard, Billie Eilish, Wish You Were Gay, from upcoming When We All Fall Asleep. Why was that? Why'd you have to put from the upcoming? What's going on here?
It's coming out after, literally like right after we've recorded this.
Yeah.
But it's off the upcoming album, so it's like it's not a single; it's just a song off the album coming out.
Really, really interesting tidbit, but I'll tell you when we finish about Billie Eilish. Big Bad by Giggs, Summer Walker and Drake, Girls Need Love remix, Gunna, Drip or Drown 2, 404 by Offset, and those were all of the major releases, I think.
You know, I didn't put them down because I thought they came out before last time, but
they came out last week, innit? Yeah.
they didn't. There's a lot of stuff that's been released, actually, hasn't there? It's interesting. What would be your favorite album out of that? Like, what's been released that you've listened to? It's quite a hard question. There's a lot of.
I really enjoyed Solange's album. Really enjoyed 2 Chainz's album.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are you talking about new releases? Just these new releases? Like, when are we talking about?
No, just in the last 2 weeks.
Just in the last 2 weeks. Solange's 2 Chainz album is good. Offset's is just okay. Big Bad by Giggs was pretty good. I really like Solange though. I'm stuck on the album at the moment. Like, I just love it. It's really, I think, like, people are really hating on it, and it's getting a bit of a bad rap from people. But
I don't know. I think we actually are the same, because out of all the stuff that's been released, the 2 albums I like the most are Solange and 2 Chainz.
Yeah, 2 Chainz album's really good, really good, and it has a song on there with like Ariana Grande, which like samples Why Can't We Fall in Love by A-Marie.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I
like that song.
Yeah, it's really good.
The first time I heard that, I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, man. It's just super crazy.
They're both very different albums, but
they are.
It's interesting how LeBron was like, helping with the album, like 2 Chainz album,
the hip hop historian, and LeBron go and drop. If you don't go and drop 40 in a game, like what's he doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is he doing? He ain't helping the Lakers out. Like,
he's making music now. He got to get his retirement money in.
Someone goes out, LeBron's gonna have a record label soon. I could actually see that happening.
He helped with a solid album, because that's one of the best albums I've heard this year. Not that this year is very far along yet, but still, it's something to note. If that's a thing, then it could be happening. We've got a few things to talk about, so I just want to say, like, off the bat, as we're speaking about this album, there was a missing verse from Kanye that was meant to be on this album from LeBron and 2 Chainz. Well, I say the album's from LeBron. The album is not from LeBron. It's from 2 Chainz.
You mean LeBron's album?
Yeah. But what was this Kanye verse that was meant to be missing? Because I have not looked into it too much, but you seem to know more about it than me. Well,
this Kanye verse, seemingly, like, they must have been trying to get it together, like, for the album. Obviously, you got LeBron doing his A&R shit, seemingly. And apparently, like, what's called it, Kanye was on it, then he didn't want to be on it, and then he wanted to be on it, and then LeBron was just basically like, fuck it, I ain't with the back and forth shit, so I don't want you to be on the album. Like, I'm just taking your verse off. So I don't really know what Kanye's like reasoning why he kept flip-flopping between like taking the verse off and redoing the verse and stuff like that. I don't really know what his idea behind that was, but yeah, he was supposed to be on the song with Kendrick Lamar, produced by Pharrell, on the 2 Chainz album. So I guess you can just kind of like, I don't know, like just kind of guess what Kanye was going to sound like on that song.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, even speaking of Kanye though, like, he did drop that new video of him like doing his Sunday service things, and yeah, it sounded insane. I'm not gonna lie. Well, it didn't sound insane. It just sounded really good. Like, I did just like the sound of it. I just thought it wasn't like super groundbreaking. It just sounded like a different sound, you know, like a newer sound. You know, I can hear the African influence. Yeah, let's just hope.
Sort of. What, gospel inspired?
Yeah, gospel and tribal inspired. Let's just hope Kanye just stays out of the headlines and we just stick to the music from now on. Do you know what I'm saying? So he just like,
it seems to be the case. He seems to be out of the out of the limelight, especially with all the Kardashian beef that's going down. It seems
well, I think we already know anyway. Like, I think Kim probably just told him, like, you're on our side. Doesn't matter what. Like, what's going on? Who's in trouble? Who's like on like the side of good? Team Tristan. I know, I'm joking. I'm joking.
No, I do not condone.
I'm joking. I would never, ever like. I ain't on no team.
Team Jordan.
I don't even. Yeah, Team Jordan. We're on the side with the Smiths. Oh my god, that whole interview was hilarious. If you want to check that out, it's got nothing to do with music, but if you want to check out the Jordan Woods interview with Will Smith and Jada Smith, oh my god.
I'll give a shout out to that guy. Shout out to Red Table Talk or whatever it's called. That was an awful shout out. I think it's Red Table Talk.
I think it's Red Table Talk. It's on Facebook Watch. I was like, what kind of service is this?
They do. It's a decent, interesting podcast. Jada Pinkett Smith, normally Willow, and Jada Pinkett Smith's mom, I think. Interesting. And I mean, Jaden's on it sometimes. Will's on it a lot of the time as well, like coming back and forth. So if you like that family, if you want to hear about stuff like that, then they go into detail, speak about issues.
I just think it's crazy how they actually have like a whole studio set up in their house, but then again, it's Will Smith. I was thinking, then again, Will Smith, of course, he's got a studio set up in his house.
My man goes diving with sharks for YouTube views.
Exactly. Mama does whatever he likes. Like, he's Will Smith.
He don't need to do that. He just does it.
He just does it. I think what topic should we leave for the last one, because we're on the tail end now.
I want to speak about the 3 major labels making big bucks that you bought up. Rolling Stone had this article. Sony, Universal, and Warner Records took in half their revenue from streaming. In 2018, 19 million a day from streaming. That's a hell of a lot of money. I think that's combined. I don't think that each label makes 19 million a day from streaming, because that's a lot of money. But I'll just go down some numbers. So 1.6 billion more. What? This makes no sense. So that is 5.3 billion that the big 3 made from streaming. Whoa, hang on, billion. Okay, so 7 billion basically revenue people made from streaming last year. The 3 big labels, 7 billion. So they made 1.6 billion more than they made in 2017. And it's £800,000 per hour is what we're looking at on average. So, I mean, it shows that streaming might be the way forward for them if half their revenue is coming from it.
Yeah,
and it's only growing each year. Not in small numbers either. 1.6 billion is not a small number to grow in. That's a big number. Yeah.
Well, it's the amount of like money that like these music industries make, and like the amount of money that we like pay for like the streaming services. I just don't know how it all works. Like, surely we're not like, are they really making $1 billion like from us like paying for streaming subscriptions? Like, is it really that many people?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, people listen to a lot.
Because I'm just trying to think about how how they pay out, like, and who gets what splits from it all. I'm just trying to think about how. I just want to know how it all works.
There's got to be something from it. So obviously, the 3 record companies we mentioned, Sony, Universal, and Warner, that I mentioned in this article. In 2016, 35% of their revenue came from streaming.
Yeah.
In 2017, 40% of their revenue came from streaming.
Yeah.
And in 2018, 50% of their revenue came from streaming. So it's going up each year. So it's gone 5%, and then 10%. So this means 65% of the revenue is going to come from streaming in 2019. Because we're starting to see that not a lot of people are buying albums anymore. A lot of people just buy sort of collector's edition albums or vinyls or something.
Well, yeah, I think vinyl sales definitely is on the rise because it's becoming more trendy to buy vinyls and collect them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. But there's a lot that sort of ties into that. So we've got things like vinyls and how much they cost now. But does it just mean that people aren't buying CDs anymore? Is our generation, the younger generation, finding that they don't need something like a CD anymore because CD players are sort of defunct? If you want to put a song on, you might as well just go on the internet and play it.
That is just like, I feel like this is just down to just kids just not being educated on like music formats, whereas I feel like our parents were just of the age they were old enough where they have experienced all forms of media almost, like properly. Like they experience cassettes, they experience vinyls, they experience CD-ROMs, they experience DVDs.
Yeah, I experienced cassettes.
Yeah, no. Well, you did. Obviously, you're older than me. Like I experienced cassettes, but not
that much.
No, yeah, I know, not by that much. But I'm just saying though, like even though a year apart, that year could still be all the difference. Like how how they all put like people in like these kind of like these pools, like I don't know, like you're in 1995, so technically your class is like I don't know, like Gen Y or something like that, and I'm Gen Z or you're Gen X. Like it'll be people who have like experienced certain things, and you have a much more clearer memory of cassettes than I do probably.
I had my own little cassette player and everything.
See, I didn't have one. My first player was, even though I did have like a little cassette player that like with a microphone, like as a toy. I had one of those.
Yeah, that's right, I had a toy.
Yeah, I had a toy one, but I mean like real cassettes, like real life cassettes. Like, do you know what I mean? Like actual like albums are on cassettes. Like I don't think.
Oh yeah,
I haven't really.
My dad's got a collection of
experienced that. Like my mom and dad, I see them using them. Yeah, see what I mean? Like, our parents have collections of like cassettes, and my dad's got mad amount of vinyls and things like that. So I'm yours as well. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It is what those are music listeners though, and obviously some people's households are just not music listeners. They just won't like educate their kids on like different formats of music and how it all came together.
When I was getting into like listening to music when I was younger, so my dad's always been like a big fan of the Beatles, and he had all the Michael Jackson cassettes, like from original, like back in the day. So you know, I remember listening to Bad on my cassette player in my room. I'm like, that's something you'd never hear anyone say now. Like, oh yeah, I listened to Michael Jackson's Bad album on a cassette.
On a cassette in my room. Yeah.
I used to take my dad's Walkman to school, his CD Walkman.
Oh yeah.
Anymore, and I was like, I need to listen to music on the bus. I'll take that.
Big fire, man.
This massive thing that's like, got a CD in it playing.
Yo, you play an album. Your man's had CD in his bag. Like, I'm like, yo, I'm finna get this off.
What do you want to listen to? Oh, hang on, let me just search what I got today. What did I bring with me? And you're like going through. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just be like, oh, what do I want to listen to? Oh, someone's done this for me. I'll just play that instead.
Yeah,
shout out to the 808s and Joysticks weekly playlist, by the way.
Quick shameless plug. Yeah, I do. I really understand that. I just think that obviously we know that we're going towards a more digital age, and I know how it affects certain avenues, but just the same way it has vinyls has got a resurgence right now. So are CDs. Like, do you know what I'm saying? People will be like, oh, I want to collect CDs. Like, there were so many great albums that came out, and me and you, we used to buy albums, didn't we? A lot more than we do now. Like, buy actual physical discs, because we have streaming, so we have so many. We've got Spotify, we've got Apple Music, we've got YouTube Music, and obviously because we do the show, we have to be like in tune with all these streaming services to just make sure we know where our stuff is and at what point it's at and how it's doing and stuff like that. And you've got SoundCloud that's trying to do its own little distribution thing now with SoundCloud Pro, where you can distribute yourself and make money. So like
Tidal as well.
Yeah, Tidal. Can't forget about Tidal. Is probably like
Deezer.
Yeah, Deezer as well. Tidal is probably one of the best streaming services, but it just only has a certain few select artists on there that is good for them. Like if you're a Rihanna fan and a Jay-Z and a Beyonce fan, Tidal is probably the best thing ever to have.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you're a Drake fan, Apple Music's a better thing to have. Or if you're a fan of just Drake, anyone who has an Apple deal, like with this radio shows, you're better off going towards Apple Music. So that's probably like majority of most artists, or they're on Spotify, like doing something with them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's super crazy. But just as like the last little tidbit, have you got anything else to say on the three top labels and how much money's being made and how this might actually, like, will this potentially even like, could we see rise in prices? Could we see some lowering? Could we see some different things happening with streaming services as a result? So much money being made on these services.
No. I mean, I don't think anything. I think they're just going to stick to what's happening. It works. They still get money from selling stuff because people will still buy it. They still get money from streaming. You might start seeing streaming exclusives or physical exclusives, but that's not something we haven't seen before. So I think they're just going to keep doing what they're doing, and I'm not unhappy about that. I think it works, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy with the service I'm signed up to. I get all that I need, and you know, if they start merging it in with the library as well and stuff, which Spotify meant to be doing now, because you could already do it with Apple Music if you own an iPhone, then you know it's a thing that happens. I do think the days of MP3 players like iPods have gone. I know there's rumours of an iPod Touch coming back, but
yo,
I
can't believe they just got rid of the Touch like that. You know, that shit was fire. I had an iPod Touch back in the day.
But you gotta have data to use the service, though, haven't you? It's sort of it's a thing that's called funneling, and you funnel people down like where you want them to go with your business. You're like, we're releasing a streaming service, so what's the thing that people listen to music on an iPod? All right, cool. Cut that off, and then they have to use their phone to listen to it on a streaming service.
It's crazy still. And the thing is as well, like, people just really don't know that, like, you don't, like, so many people get so confused about iTunes and putting music on there. Like, you can put your own music on your phone. It's not a problem. And you can also use iCloud Music Library as well. Like, that puts all your own home, like, music and puts it on, like, a cloud server that's only your private server, and it just has all your whole library on there. So you might as well in it. Like, I do understand that. Like, me and you, we've had, like, unlimited data forever now. So, like, that's just the one thing that we've always had on our phones. So I've never had a problem with that. But then there's other people who do have problems with it that have very limited data, and they're like, oh yeah, I can't use Apple Music that much because I don't have much data. I'm just like, damn.
You just gotta get a new data plan.
But the thing is, though, these like the phone companies now, I think Apple Music doesn't take any of my data. I have unlimited anyway, so I don't really know what changes I see in my data. But Snapchat and Apple Music doesn't take any data away from me. I think it's the same with you, because I know what you're on.
I had 20 gig data. Yeah, and I used to use probably 900 meg max a month, if that. I know what, like, that was months when I was like streaming like Netflix and shit. Like, that's not even when I've just been streaming music. When I'm just streaming music the whole month, I hardly use anything. So I mean, it's also the fact that you do it from like you can download it onto your phone, so you have it saved from Apple Music as well. Like, there's integration with that. So it depends how you use it and how it suits you. I think that's why it's so good, why it makes so much money, because people can adjust it to their own lifestyle. Whereas if you buy an album, you've got to put it on. I mean, CD drives are going extinct anyway, so we got to put it on a CD drive. Where you're going to find a CD drive? You know, a lot of the new thin laptops don't have CD drives.
Yeah, they don't.
We've turned this into like a tech talk now, but it's like it is interesting where it's going to go. I think it's where it's at. I don't think there's a lot that's going to change with it. I just think we might see some fluctuation in physical sales peak and in like limited edition runs and stuff, and then streaming exclusives coming up again. And I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But I think that that part of the industry's sorted for the next sort of 5 to 10 years now. I think they've got a plan. They know what they're doing. They seem to have worked out the issues they had at the start when everyone was fighting with each other over revenue and stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, literally Frank Ocean was the reason why everyone, like, he made the streaming services. He ended exclusivity, didn't he? With the way, when he released Endless and Blonde next day on his own record label. After that, Universal was like, how dare he finesse us? How dare he finesse us like that? And then own all of his masters. Oh my gosh.
Well, you're talking about new record labels, so
yeah, we are.
Transition. You can start this off.
Yeah, I'm gonna break you off with the final topic, which we're gonna just go into. We don't know much, and it's a lot of legal talk, so I won't go too in depth about it because we're just gonna give you a simplified version down. I'll break it down into a couple points. So, big Drake fan, as you like, as everyone knows, and I noticed something weird. I've been for weeks now. I've been watching Drake's release, like his credit notes, and the labels, like at the bottom. I've been seeing what, like, when he brings out new songs, like what label is it going to be now? Because as I quote from Scorpion, it says, as soon as the album drops, I'm out of the deal. So, meaning that he's out of his Cash Money, Young Money deal. Now, we know with the information given to us that Wayne just got his settlement and now owns Young Money. He's no longer a part of Young Money. Go on the Wikipedia page. Drake is now listed as a formerly known artist. We don't know how true the Wikipedia references are, but, it is what it is, innit? Also, shouts out to that guy who did like 1 million edits on Wikipedia. Do you know about that guy? The wiki guy. Yeah, he's done the most edits of all time on like Wikipedia. Like, it's now like his job to do that. Yeah, he looks kind of crazy as well. Like, he needs to look at the picture of him. Back in July, Drake said he hasn't really he had something already lined up for his next big release. So after he did Scorpion, I think he already knew what was going to happen. So there's a company called Frozen Moments LLC. Now, an LLC is when you change it into a kind of like a, I want to say like a legal, is it a legal liable company? Is that what it's called? I feel like it is. But Frozen Moments was legally locked down in 2006 by Drake. That was years ago. So there's a brief mention as well of Frozen Moments back in 2006 as well. The company which Drake called a sports and entertainment finance group. Now that sounds crazy. It sounds like Drake's trying to do almost kind of like a Rock Nation type of Rock Nation Sports, and they've got agents and they've got and they manage people. I don't know if Drake's trying to do that with this company, but if he is, he's gone about the right way either way. So $160 in filing fees, and in 2009 he locked down the name of Frozen Moments and turned it from an incorporated company into an LLC. Drake's signatures all over it and whatnot. And then
It basically turns it into a limited liability company, which is just a private company.
Yeah, which meaning in that he owns it all. It's his name on it only. He then had Cortez Bryant, who signed the rapper to his label back in 2008, was also signed on as a registered agent on there already. Now, we know Cortez Bryant is Lil Wayne's manager, been in a lot of trouble, apparently owns money to Wayne, might even own some money to Drake. He's no longer involved in the company. He's then since been taken, his involvement was then since wiped away in 2011, where Drake was then changed to the registered agent of the company. Basically, yada yada yada, made it into a company to kind of like point out, like to try and do like, you know, trademark filings for, you know, Drake related products, CD-ROMs, fake Drake websites. Somehow filed to get his own internal radio system, so that's a thing. Don't know whether that means he's gonna try and do his own, like he's got his own like little, I don't know what that means. What does an internal radio system mean? Like, that must be an important, I guess it's for just like day-to-day business activities within your business. So like, I'm guessing so you can do walkie-talkies and shit in it.
Yeah, it's basically...
Yeah, basically. Okay,
like a communication system.
That was in 2014. Most recently renewing like a lapse trademark in Drake branded audio equipment as well. And then Drake apparently has got two other registered companies as well, called Live Right LLC and Away From Home LLC. And then obviously Frozen Moments is the first public facing mention of Frozen Moments since Best I Ever Had. So people have reached out to reps of Interscope, which is where Summer Walker is currently being distributed on the LVRN label, which has got like Black and everyone on there. Pretty cool record label right now, doing big things in the R&B industry. And reached out to Drake with no kind of like answer as into what's going on. But Slim from the infamous Cash Money Brothers, Birdman's older brother, said, "We're forever going to be in business with Drake. So take that as what you will."
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that sounds really ominous and scary, and I would be scared because Slim's the scary one. You think Birdman's scary, he's the one that you should be worried about. So, yeah, that was it really. So Frozen Moments, possible new Drake record label, is credited on the bottom of Summer Walker's remix. You can go and see it right now. Frozen Moments is there. We know the album's on the way. We know singles are on the way. So we're just going to have to keep watching this closely and see what's going to happen, and see if Drake is actually going to sign again, or if Drake has become essentially Jay-Z.
I mean, he has the capability to do that now. So, in my opinion, it'd be silly for him not to go down that route.
Yeah, like the mogul route. Well, he's got the capital now. He's got the money.
Unless he's literally like a sign your soul over contract to fucking Cash Money, because that shit's happened before. The statement of "we're gonna work with him forever" is a bit like, what do we actually have to do for that? Like, does that mean it's there forever, or what? But we don't know, so we'll answer that question another time when we do find out details.
Yeah.
This has been episode 27 now.
27.
Wow.
Yeah. It's just all blurring. Like, I feel like we've been in the 20s for quite a while, though, man. We've been on 20 for quite a while. I think, like,
I hope that's how life feels still.
Not right now. Yeah, episode 27, you know, all that good stuff, man. Weekly playlist that gets updated every week. Spotify, Apple Music, search 808s and Joysticks weekly playlist. You can find all the archived playlists there. Also, you can find our collection playlist, which we know is missing a few songs in there, but we are looking to fix that soon. Also, anyone who listens to the show on Apple Podcasts, please unsubscribe and resubscribe and refresh if you are having problems with listening to episodes. I was having a recent issue with it, and that's what I had to do. I don't know if this is happening again. Like, I don't know what Apple's playing at. Like, this happened before, so just subscribe and unsubscribe, refresh, and it should be all good. Yeah, find us on everything: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Podbean, everywhere. Just anywhere that you can possibly think. YouTube, show some love over there. Like Instagram, we're still going in with the artwork. Very proud of what we do. Yeah, episode 27. That's it.
If you liked any of the music in today's show, then please check the credits in the description to see what songs we used.